Welcome back. Delighted that you're here for the second half of the symposium. We're going to open with Alphonso McClendon, who's Associate Professor at Drexel University, the author of Fashion and Jazz, has a chapter in Fresh Fly and Fabulous, 50 Years of Hip Hop, numerous articles. He's going to be speaking about fashioning Black culture beyond the archive. Could you please join me in welcoming Alphonso McClendon?
Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully, this afternoon will be a little bit less shaky than the morning session. So it's great to be here today. American Black culture, it's an instinctive, creative response to the unique vantage point operated by people of color in the United States, requiring lenses looking outward and an external mirror to discern altered identities. Of the latter, W.E.B. Du Bois, an American civil rights activist, defined it as a sense of always looking at oneself through the eyes of others. Culture is the shared significance of rejoicing, struggling, battling, surviving, praising, and reimagining within a group of people. In a human and social science context, Stuart Hall argued that it is the production and the exchange of meanings in a society, a giving and taking. This higher consciousness has spawned an amplification of Black culture and community generated in distinctive ways. The documentation of culture allows for it to be archived, preserved, examined, and consumed by others. In interview about the preservation of Black history and greater accessibility, Khalil Kinsey, chief curator and creative director for the Kinsey African American Art and History Collection, put forth their mission to dismantle the myth of absence, that Black Americans have been invisible presences. Black culture is the mountain from which we view and make sense of the entire world. Central in the Black culture narrative is sharing and telling. Akin to the call and response form in early African music, this storytelling often engenders a visceral reaction by spectators that conveys approval, affirmation, motivation, and connection. It's replicated in the African American tradition of barbershop talk, where communal experiences and stories generate agreement, opposing ideologies, and comedic relief in a safe space. Like a jazz jam session, these sensational performances showcase endurance, persuasion, speculation, and hyperbole. Barbershops are a compelling site of culture production through improvisational discourse. Blackness is a unique lens and understanding among a group of individuals from the African diaspora, conveyed in various means. 100 years earlier, Du Bois identified the sensation of a double consciousness that binds such individuals, whom feel two unreconciled strivings, to be an American and a Negro. Opera Philadelphia's recent performance of To Sit and Dream by Langston Hughes provides a framework to examining the expression and research of Black culture. In the last lines of the poem, all you who are dreamers too, help me to make our world anew. I reach out my dreams to you. Dreaming was the past for Black culture. Keeping the dream is the present for Black culture, and variations of the dream will be the future for Black culture. In the pre-civil rights period, dreaming of a better human condition nourished the elevation of Blackness when unseen people and unheard voices caused those outside to look in. Novels, plays, and poetry by and about Negroes were being deliriously acclaimed and patronized. Author Wallace Thurman called it a Negro Renaissance. New methods of cultural documentation spurred the affinity for Blackness within a racially charged framework. Black Americans were recorded in dress, music, art, literature, and film, designating elites, celebrities, and everyday people. In 1841, the author of Sketches of the Higher Classes of Colored Society in Philadelphia argued that the greater society had long been accustomed to regard the people of color as one consolidated mass, all huddled together without any particular or general distinctions, social or otherwise. Black cultural centers developed geographically, largely northern and urban, mapped out by the Great Migration when individuals sought race relief and opportunity. Black culture is archived across the U.S., having origins and production within and outside the Black community. These sheet music covers are part of an extensive collection at the National Museum of American History. A significant portion has content that renders and interprets the music, dance, religion, mores, and relationships of Black Americans. This imagining of Black culture stood out through graphic text, panoramas of everyday life, comedic narratives about love, and promotion of well-known entertainers against the backdrop of slavery, segregation, wars, and economic turmoil. In addition to visual representation, the written word in Black culture became prominent in the 1920s when a young, ambitious, and modern group of writers, Hurston, Hughes, Larson, Thurman, McKay, and others, interrogated society with declarations of Black cultural knowledge. He said, "Why not? She's just as good as the rest, and you know what they say, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice." Over a century, this idiom has thrived in the Black community. It has been removed of its purely sexual conquest and skin color animus, and now ascribes a Black complexion or Blackness as having potent beauty, magnificence, and swagger. Visions of Black culture are missing and lost, as with this cut scene from Jealousy of 1934 that showcased the early tap dancing genius of the Nicholas brothers. One can only ponder the mindset of the director and choreographer that staged and cut this spectacle of 10 Black chorus women in platinum blonde bobs adorned in magnificent bias-cut satin gowns with exposed nude backs. Concerning this practice, Lerone Bennett Jr., scholar and historian, noted that by removing Black actors from scenes in which they played supporting and sometimes starring roles, the manipulators of the myth changed the color of the past and controlled perceptions and acts in the present. Archives, as with the last film studio Image, make it possible to uncover lost narratives and occurrences. Here, the pathway to Black celebrity is revealed. Although Benny Carter, jazz saxophonist and band leader, was documenting the coverage of his radio and live performances in this scrapbook, we see an icon, Billie Holiday, emerge and take prominence. Carter gave these clippings new meaning and value in how he represented them that now has research interpretation. Archival research is exhilarating and exhausting. As caretakers, the days, weeks, and years of studying Black culture contributors is deeply emotional. A research strategy is important. How is the material archived? What is the approach? By collection, names, dates, genres, etc. Camera phones, as well as online archives, allow for large amounts of data to be recorded and have made research more efficient and accessible. Quoting Du Bois from 1903, "The Negro Church of today is the social center of Negro life in the United States and the most characteristic expression of African character. The Black culture past was the dreaming, where Black Americans claimed and transformed environment and spaces guided by faith and spirituality. In the present, there is a state of keeping the dream alive through rediscovery, imagination of the past, and reimagination of the past. In 2021, Amazon's premiere of The Underground Railroad, directed by Barry Jenkins, transformed the antebellum network of resistance to slavery and pathway to freedom into a magical, functioning train line, moving characters between hopeful and horrific circumstances. In like manner, The American Society of Magical Negroes, a satire directed by Kobe Levy in 2024, imagines an underground network of Black people who use powers to make white people feel comfortable. Jenkins, Libby, and others, far and near, are the dream keepers. The dream is continued with new curations of Black culture, seeking to share more broadly the Black image, bringing the art out of the institution and to the people. For instance, the Perspective exhibition at the Chicago Navy Pier, featuring the art of Black collectors. Curator Raymond Thomas described it as a celebration of the triumph, tears, and beauty of the African American experience. Free admission and a welcoming environment is their role as caretakers and protectors for all to see themselves reflected in this storytelling. Locally, the Metropolitan Museum of Art is showcasing the Harlem Renaissance with work that portrayed the everyday life in the new Black cities of the 1920s. While across the Atlantic, the Black figure is being reframed to illuminate the richness and complexity of Black life, whether present or absent in Western art history. The exhibition titled "The Time is Always Now," Artists Reframe the Black Figure, equally considers Du Bois' double consciousness, as here with Nathaniel Mary Quinn's painting of a negotiation of identity and self-perception. Through innovative programming, the gallery generates Black culture. For example, Get Loud, a game night of pop-up dominoes that fosters kinship and connection for attendees. Rectifying Omissions in Western History is the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts exhibition of Determined to Be, the sculpture of John Roden. Part of the preservation includes 5,000 digital objects online that rediscovers his genius of illustration. In one sketchbook created while in Indonesia, he annotated, "Everybody is an artist." Participating prominently in the rediscovery are historically Black colleges and universities, commonly referred to as HBCUs. The merger of diverse thought, spirituality, historical scrutiny, and creative activity on these campuses elevated Black consciousness. It was fed by traditional academics and alternative knowledge sources, such as the Black Student's Guide to Positive Education. The authors declared that an ideology of any people must come from their culture. HBCUs are cultural studios, altering the trickle-down effect with transformations of original design intent from mainstream fashion brands. Here, Levi's jeans are adorned with Black aesthetics, intermixing visuals of Afrocentricity, language, and capitalism that affix cultural value. Serving as a grapevine of communication, the Black Bart t-shirt utilizes idioms like, "It's a Black Bart thing, you wouldn't understand," creating material culture and transmitting coded aspects of identity. These items and others signify a self-telling and sharing of Black culture beyond the archives by everyday people, as cultivators generating critical social dialogue. As with jazz and Motown, this new expression of Black culture was profitable. It was commodified in places, visible on screen and TV, and cultural critique followed. Presently, HBCUs have replaced the Black church as moderator and repository for Black culture. However, confrontation has arisen from adoptions of this resource. American fashion designer Rick Owens referenced the tradition of stepping, closely associated with Black fraternities and sororities at HBCUs. Owens' fashion embrace of stepping as a visual extravaganza of Black expressive culture admired and reimagined the style. Stepping's origins in spirituality and ritual practice dating to the 1800s and further legacy in African traditions was accessed for others to experience the Black culture dreaming. After periods of rise and decline in Black representation on fashion runways, in fashion companies, and at retail, a promotion of Black culture is having a rediscovery in the American fashion industry. In his foreword to the special edition yearbook, Ralph Lauren asserted, "Our portrait of American style and our vision of the American dream would be incomplete without Black experiences like this." Released for fall 2022, editors strategically placed sepia-toned images from Morehouse and Spelman College's annual yearbooks dating from 1920s to 1950s, adjacent to full-color contemporary images of models on the campuses, blurring the lines of past and present. For some, the exclusivity superseded the extraordinary agency at HBCUs to elevate Black people through academic training, political discourse, athletic achievement, and praise of culture. Polo Ralph Lauren's partnership with HBCUs indicates a double consciousness newly practiced by brands for increased inclusion and diversity. Presently, Black culture is ubiquitous and open access. It has been televised, and now it is on demand, streamed, trending, liked, followed, and hashtagged. It's simultaneous self and group telling with honoring and questioning of new and reimagined Black coolness, resistance, rebellion, and admiration by everyday people. There is unbridled speculation, sensationalism, and conspiracy-driven narratives that are part of this liberated storytelling. 40 years ago, Lerone Bennett warned of similar fiction about Black history that he defined as stories, beliefs, and notions commonly held to be true, but without factual basis, that discredits some and negatively conditions all. Variations of the dream will yield vivid storytelling of lived experiences in the people's language. There will be new searches for truth, meanings, connections, and conflict. When nobody's mentally present due to human submission to technology, the engagement will need to be immediate, self-caring, supportive of place and purpose, and curated. Such as the Black speculative arts movement that visualizes an inclusive future society. Contributors examine invisibility or mischaracterization of Black people in the popular imagination, in science fiction, and in philosophies of history. Artificial intelligence through text, image, and video will contribute to these narratives. In a prompt to ChatGPT on the meaning of African American culture in 2050, the chatbot responded with themes that will inform Black culture research beyond the archive. Number one, boundaries between different cultural traditions become more fluid. Number two, immersive and interactive experiences that engage audiences. Number three, exploration of resilience, identity, and social justice that are both reflective and forward-looking. Number 4, highlighting the interconnectedness of different cultural experiences. And number 5, community-centered with a focus on empowering local communities. This collage was produced from the documentary The Dancer, detailing the beautiful and painful life of Gerard Alexander, a multi-genre dancer who was found murdered on April 25th, 2022 in Atlanta, Georgia, beneath Interstate 85. A tragic end to a bright star who traversed New York's High School of Performing Arts, the Alvin Ailey School, Michael Jackson's Bad video, Martha Graham, the Georgia Ballet, and other ensembles. This storytelling has guided me to new research in reclaiming and reawakening a particular narrative of African American and Hispanic gay culture in the 1990s that represented a convergence of spirituality, familial structure, improvisation, literature, grassroots organizing, house and gospel music, fashion, dance, violence, struggle, and cultural appropriation. In stage 1 of this research, I call this dream sequence Love in a Cold Climate. Thank you.